All right, what's up, guys? This is a video I'm responding to Bark Eater 9606 from about a week and a half ago. Please do a video on adding diminished scales, Robben Ford ideas into your blues playing. Yeah, so thanks for the suggestion. And I went ahead and I looked up a Robben Ford video. And I had heard of him before, but it was just nice to hear him talk about his playing, and I listened to him play a little bit. Very tasteful player, really a killer guitar player. So thanks for showing me that guy. But basically, the lesson I saw, just he was kind of touching upon the diminished scale, and I wanted to go over that. I just started, working on it from the video from Robben, what he had been mentioning. And so the first thing I did was, of course, I had to learn the scale. I intellectually understand it: half step, whole step, half step, whole. So on one string, it's pretty simple to see. So I wanted to practice it moving. And I just kind of did one octave for a while. And just kind of getting the pattern down. And it's a very symmetrical shape. And so after doing that for a while, I also wanted to analyze it, of course. I want to see, why does it work? How does it fit? So the main ideas that you have with this diminished scale over the one chord, and I've been mostly just using it over the one chord just to get comfortable with that. And I teach this to a lot of my students. When you're learning new things, it's really important to keep it simple. Because if you start throwing a bunch of things on top of itself, it's harder and harder to focus. So just over this G7 chord, so what the diminished scale does, it gives us the 1, of course, and then it gives us this flat 2, which is a super tense note. And, if not even thinking diminished scale, if you just hit that, I actually do play that note off and on when I'm playing bluesy types things. It's kind of exotic sounding. It sounds pretty cool. And the more you really understanding, you're just creating some specific tension with that. You call it the flat 2 or the flat 9. Very jazzy. A lot of the jazz guys use that note. And so, especially over a dominant 7th chord. Now then you've got the flat 3 and the 3, which is already what's going on in the blues. You may notice that the dominant 7 chord has a major 3, but the blues scale has a minor 3. So I already kind of utilize that in my playing. Again, I don't think of it as the diminished scale, I just think of it as the flat 3 and the 3. So it's been fascinating to kind of learn this diminished scale and see how it kind of plays out here. So far, nothing too unusual. The flat 9 is definitely something that you have to practice using, but then the next part was a little tricky for me, because if we're just sticking with the diminished scale, we're not playing a 4, we're skipping the 4. Going straight to that sharp 4, which is the blue note. So that, of course, that so that one, I obviously use that one too, I guess. I think of it, but I usually think of it as playing 4 to the 5, kind of as a passing tone, or down to the 4. Whereas in the diminished scale, it omits the 4. But my understand, you can obviously play the 4 if you want to. You can play all those notes. So anyway, moving forward, so we've got the 1, the flat 2, the flat 3, the 3, the sharp 4, sharp 4 in this situation, but you could call it the tritone or the blue note, the 5, and then we're jumping up to the 6, and then the flat 7. And so those are very popular. That's in the Mixolydian scale. So as a teacher, as someone who studies guitar, and I encourage you to do this is why the scale degrees are so important, because after playing this diminished scale and learning it, realizing how I already used these notes that are not in the blues scale or even in the chord tones, I can start to use the diminished scale now with some ideas. It's kind of, I'm combining all those ideas. So I'm a little new at this, but let me just play a little bit here over this G chord. So normally I would just do some kind of like, maybe if I wanted to do like so that's kind of some standard blues. But if I wanted to do that diminished scale, let's see here. Yeah, there's some cool, I mean, I'm already playing different. I've never played that way before. Thinking, you're walking up that diminished scale. Oh, whoops. Let's see here. You can go ahead and go to the 4 chord. There's the 5, 4. So there's some ideas there. Now I'm obviously, I think this is just I just kind of like to kind of reinforce the idea of knowing your scale degrees, because once I learned the scale, I just kind of learned the pattern. It's pretty symmetrical. Then that's one thing, but I really noticed that I could incorporate it in my playing when I really was just paying attention to the scale degrees. 6 in the flat 7, and the 1 in the flat 2. Flat 3 and 3, sharp 4 and 5, back to the 6, flat 7, 1. Because I really see those scale degrees, especially in this first position over your bar chord, your E shape. I mean, yeah. So I hope this helps, and I appreciate you, throwing that question out there. If you have any questions at all in regards to that lesson, or you want me to touch on anything else, feel free to leave a comment. All right. Peace.